Hello, ladies and gents. It is time. Oh, I'm all askew. It is time for another video. We're going to make a bracelet today, and I'm exercising my love of a newfound passion, which is square wire. So what we're going to do is make this really easy little bracelet. We're going to, and it only requires two kinds of wires: square wire, round wire, and beads. That is the gist of it. So what we're going to do is make this little bracelet. We're going to use twisted square wire. We're going to twist our wire, and we're going to apply the beads, and then we're going to use another thing that I just have grown to love, and that is a infinity link. We're going to make our own infinity link chain. So very easy, very simple and quick to do. So let's go ahead and get started. But first, the tools that you will need are, in addition to your beads and your two types of wire, are round nose pliers, square or flat nose pliers, and cutters. You'll also need a ruler to measure out your wire and to determine the amount, the number of beads that you need to use. And you can use some kind of cylindrical item to get your round shape. You don't have to. You can just really shape this with your fingers. It doesn't have to use something, but if you want to, it's kind of a little shortcut to get it started with a cylindrical item, a little jar of some kind or something like that. Now, the wire that we're going to be using is 20 gauge round, and you could use, I'd stick with 20 or 18 gauge round. And I'm using 21 gauge square wire. You can always also use 20 gauge square wire. I probably wouldn't go any smaller than 21. And remember, the larger the gauge, the smaller the wire. So let's get started. Let's get on this right now. So here I am with my little beads, and what you're going to need, I'm using, this is about the equivalent of 3 to 3.5 inches of beads. It's not going to be exact, but just approximate, because that gives me enough for it to go across the top of my wrist. And that, of course, it depends on the size of your wrist, but that's what works for me. Now, how do you decide or determine how many beads that you want? If you go to the store and just need to buy beads, how many do you buy? Well, that's where just a teeny tiny bit of math comes in. 1 inch is 25.4 millimeters. So if you have, for instance, I think these are 8 millimeter beads that I started with here. Yeah, if you have 8 millimeter beads, that means that about 3 of those will go into an inch, because 3 times 8 is 24 millimeters, and versus 25.4 millimeters per inch. So a little more than 3 beads will make 1 inch. And I have, mine are about, I think mine are about 9 inches. So, oops, about, and you see, I can go ahead and put it on my ruler, but if you're just standing in the store, you're going to have to use a little bit of math skill. So I have 3. So 9 millimeters into 24 goes how many times? It goes a little, it goes about 2 3/4 times. So I would need 3 inch or 3 beads is about 1 1/8, a little over 1 1/8 inches. So I need 9 beads to get approximately 3 1/4 to 3.5 inches, which is perfect for me. Okay, so that's one measurement. The other measurement is going to be your wire. Because you're going to be twisting it, you're going to lose maybe 1 inch in the twists, depending on how much you twist it. So what I've done for my wrist is give myself, so that I end up with enough, excuse me, I got a little frog in my throat. so that I end up with enough to string my beads on, to wrap my beads, and to wrap my loops on the end. I'm giving myself about 20 inches of wire, and then I'm twisting that wire. That is, I know pretty much that that's going to be too much, but it's better to have too much than too little, simply because, again, one, depends on how many beads you put on, and two, it depends on how much you twist your wire as to how much you're going to lose in length. So I've cut myself about 20 inches of wire. Now let's talk about twisting this wire, because what we're going to do, you can do this a couple of ways. I'm doing it by hand because I just want to show you how to do it by hand without using a lot of gadgets. So you can do it a couple of ways. You can you can make a loop on one end and hold it with your round nose pliers and twist with your square nose pliers. Or if you have something to hook it onto, which I just discovered on this little box, this little spool, I can wrap it around here, just like I would on my round nose pliers. And then I can take my square or flat nose pliers and twist. And as you can see, I've already started twisting this because it takes a minute to do the twist. So here, I need to go this way because it takes a minute to do the twists. And I would be sitting here for a very long time twisting. But you can see the difference in what it looks like after I twist it as compared to before I twisted. See that? It just gives it a little bit of texture. And I like that. Get it up here. Oh, so much light bouncing off the wire. It's hard to see. Let's see if you can see it now. There we go. So you can see that there's a little bit of texture in the wire as opposed to when it's not twisted. Let's see if I can make this a little less. There we go. Makes it a little less glary now. But and you can use it straight. You don't have to twist it if you don't want to. I just like the way it looks. I think it's really neat. So, okay, get back on there. It's out of the way. Okay, now I have to put my wire back. I could, I suppose, do that later. Yeah, we'll do that later. Anyway, so that's the way you twist it. You just get it, you can use your round nose pliers, make a loop or a hook, and twist with your square nose pliers until you have the consistency that you want. And I like to start here and just work my way up the wire and just keep twisting until I get it the way I want it. Neat, huh? Isn't that neat? Ooh, I like it. So now what we're going to do, let me straighten the end out. And obviously you're not going to get the end straight because you've used that to loop. It doesn't matter because that's going to wrap. Oh, that's going to create my wrap. So I don't have to lose anything. I was cutting that end off, but why? I can still use it. It doesn't matter. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a loop. So I'm going to go ahead and bend my wire back about an inch or so from the end. Grab my round nose pliers, slide my wire down my pliers about, halfway. I always say all pliers are not created equal, so it just depends on the size loop you want, and you can kind of determine that from where you place your wire on the barrel of the pliers as to how big it's going to be. It doesn't need to be huge. So I've got my wire in there about halfway down. I'm going to fold the wire across the pliers until I get to the other side. Then I'm going to rotate my pliers back, clamp back down again, and then bring that short tail of wire all the way under my pliers until I have a loop. Just like that. Then I'm going to take my flat nose pliers. I'm going to hold on to that loop, the side of the loop, And I'm going to wrap one time around. And I'm just going to go around once, and you'll see why in a moment. Let's give it one wrap here. Let's do this. I have a very short tail here. Okay, get around there. And one of the good things about the square wire is it's very, very firm. The more you work with copper wire, the more stiff it gets and the more secure it gets. So once you start twisting this wire, it's really going to get nice and firm. So it's going to hold its shape. So I have one wrap around there. And what I want to do now is introduce my beads. So I'm going to feed my beads on my wire, all of them. I have 9 beads here. Again, you can use, it depends on how chunky you want your bracelet to be. 6, if you use 6mm, I would go with the 21 gauge wire, just a little bit smaller so it doesn't completely cover up the beads. Okay, so there are my beads on there, and now what I want to do is make a loop on the other end. So I'm going to bend that back. I want my loops to go the same direction. So this is going this way. I want this one to go the same way. The wire's trying to stick me. Slide my wire down my pliers a halfway down, just like I did on the other side. Get out of my face, my goodness gracious. It's trying to attack. Okay, do I have it? Halfway down my pliers. Come on, come on, come on. Okay. And then bring my wire over my pliers, just like I did on the other side. Rotate my pliers back, bring the wire under the pliers until I have a loop again, just like I did on the other side. And now I'm going to grab my flat pliers. I don't know why I'm losing my voice. That always happens when I go on camera. I don't know if that's nerves or what it is. I'm crazy. So now I'm going to wrap my loop. And this time I'm going to wrap around here twice. Once, twice. And I'm going to do that because when I finish wrapping around my beads down here, I'm going to wrap around here one more time. So I'll have this one wrap and a second wrap. Actually, I'm probably going to wrap 3 times. So I've got 1 wrap, 2 wraps. Yeah, I'm going to give it another half because now I have this nice little cap on top. Isn't that neat? That's so cute. And I can go ahead and cut this side off. Yeah, let's push that end down a little bit. Snip that off. I'm going to turn this little tail down into my spool so it doesn't fly off into no man's land. Where'd it go? Oh, there's a bottom on there. So it's down in there. Nice and safe and secure. And now I'm going to push this little tail end down so it doesn't snag on anything like my skin. There. Now we're going to wrap our beads. So my wrap is going around this way. I'm going to continue to go that way. I'm going to turn it this way. And so now I'm going to wrap down my beads. And I want the wrap to end up on top. My bracelet is going to go like this. So I want the wrap to show across the top. And that's going to be the part that's right here with the face of my loop. I should get some water. Anyway, so I'm going to wrap one time down the front of my bead, like so. I'm going to go down to the next one. Wrap down the front of that bead. And I'm just holding on to it with my fingers so I have a little control over it. Wrap again. And what you can do, you can hold this with your pliers, and it would probably be easier for you to see it if I did, but I have better control if I hold each bead. So let's see if I can get up here where you can actually see what I'm doing. So I'm just holding it with my thumb back here, and then I just wrap it around the bead like so. And then go down to the next one. And notice that I'm kind of staying a little bit close to the beads instead of being way out here and trying to wrap out here, because it just gives me a little better control over what I'm doing. Okay, looking pretty good. I can come back and make adjustments later. Okay, still looks good. Wrap. Yes. Okay, let's see, I'm gonna need to make a little bit of adjustment on my wire, and that's fine, and you can do that as you go. But it looks pretty good. Okay, and let's hit that next one. Okay, and almost there. Yes, nice. Checking it out. And one more. And then I'm just gonna adjust my wires a little bit so that they all look nice and neat. Pretty good. And now, notice how one of my loops, this one's flat, and this one's a little off kilter. This wire is still very malleable, so all you have to do is take your fingers and turn them until they're both going in the same direction. And there we have that. So now we have a nice, look at that. See how much wire I had left? Oh, what a shame, what a shame. But I'll tell you the honest to goodness truth. If you have this much wire left, you can do something with this. I could make earrings or something. But if I have a little bit, say like an inch or so, then I have to throw that away. And I'm very unhappy when that happens. Okay, so there is my wrap. And so now I'm going to wrap the other side just like I did this side. I'm going to give myself a little cap. I have that one wrap to start with, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap this around my loop, the base of my loop, and then one more time, just on top of my bead. So I have a nice little cap, just like on the other side. Isn't that adorable? Yay. Now I'm going to cut it. Cut that off with the clippers, with the cutters. I will be using you later. Take my flat pliers and push that end down and under so it won't catch on your skin. Nicely resting underneath. And there's my little cap on both ends. Yay! So now it is time to make whatever adjustments I need to. Yes, yes, yes. it's time to wrap my little bracelet so it's got a little bit of a curve. Now, again, I can just use my fingers, or I can grab something like this or a little container of some sort, and I can use that to kind of get my circular shape. People always say, I know when you make bangles are usually round because they're going to be not resting against your skin. But when you're making a bracelet, you have to notice that your wrist is not round. It's short over here and long over here. So when you're shaping, you have to take that into consideration. Your wrist is more of an oval shape. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and make my little half moon shape. There we go. And then I'm going to make whatever adjustments I need to with my fingers. Isn't that adorable? Yes. And so there we have the top of my bracelet. Nice. Very nice. Very nice, very nice. Neat, huh? Isn't that pretty? Time to make our chain. And our chain is going to consist, I'm going to turn this down a little bit. Boop. Boop. There. Yeah. Now our chain is going to consist of these infinity links. We used them on something else. And now I'm going to use them to make an actual chain. We used them to make a bracelet before as just individual links, linking beads together. Now we're going to use it as a chain, and it's going to look like this. You can see that down there. It's going to look like this. It looks a little hard to see. Yes, we're going to make that little chain. And the way we do that, what we're going to use for that is our round 20 gauge wire. Okay. Now, those of you who get kits, I would suggest, I just threw an earring across the room. We made that 1 point. What we're going to do, I would suggest that you leave your wire intact. You don't have to cut it into pieces. But in case you want to, each one of these infinity links, in order to get approximately 3/4 of an inch, maybe 5/8 to 3/4 of an inch of a link, you need about 1 3/4 inches of wire. See, I'm straightening this out because I am very thrifty and I don't want to lose that piece of wire. So I'm going to straighten it out just because I don't want, that's going to be a whole inch that I lose if I don't straighten it out. There we go. All right. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so the way we're going to make our infinity link, about 1 3/4 is what you need to make one. However, you're going to lose about 3/8 of an inch of the end of it because you're going to have to cut that off. You can't do an exact amount because you're going to have some kind of a little tail to work with. And then you're going to have to cut that off after each little link. And in order to avoid losing all of those little 3/8 of an inch pieces or 1/2 inch pieces, leave your wire intact and just do it from your spool or whatever it is you're working from. Those of you who get kits will have a length of wire that you can work from. Just leave it intact. So what you're going to do is determine how big you want your links to be. I wanted mine to be a decent size, so I'm going to go almost to the very back of my pliers, slide my wire back there, and close down on my wire, make sure nothing's sticking out the back. And then I'm going to rotate it to create a circle. So just rotate until I have a complete closed in circle, like so. And then I'm going to go back behind that circle and clasp my loop as close as I can get, just right underneath that circle here. Back there near the back again, and I'm going to rotate the opposite direction. And just keep rotating until I have another circle. There we go. Then I'm going to cut that off. I'm just going to go right here to the inside of my loop. Snip that. And then I'm going to make any adjustments that I need to my little loop. Close it up. Make sure it's nice and closed. There we go. And there's my infinity link. And a bit off balance. Just adjust it a little bit until it looks the way I want. It's one side, it's the other side, and there we go. Neat, huh? Let's do another one. Okay. Back to the back, near the back of my pliers, and you want to make sure that both of your links are the same size. So if you want to put a mark on your pliers, you can do that, or you can just eyeball it. Grasp my wire, make my loop. All the way around till it's closed. There we go. Go to the other side, back to the back again. Rotate. Until I have my loop. So snip that off right on the inside of my loop. And close it up. Nice, neat, and tidy. There we go. And there's my other link. What can be easier? I'm just going to make a little chain out of that. And as you can see, I've already started. So there's one half of my chain. Now, the next thing that you want to do is measure. And the reason that these links are so great is because you can measure as you go. We have approximately 3.5 inches for me around my around my wrist. My wrist is approximately 7.5 inches. So I can just add links until I don't need any more. So I know that these 3 links will be enough for one side. And let's look at how to link these together on the other side. Now, I like 2 links together. So I would take 2 of these links. Let's just pretend like this one is not here. I would take 2 of these links. Hold them together and grab one of my links that I just made. Open it up. and attach it to both of the links. So I'm going to just slide that into both of those links and close it. And make sure that the end is resting against the rest of the wire so that it doesn't have an opening there. Then I'm going to go get another, I see a little opening. Let's close that up. And notice I just kind of tap it until it's resting in place. There we go. Then I'm going to get another one of my links, open it up. And slide it into both of my loops. Make sure you do not tangle up the one you just put on in there. You want to make sure that they're separate. So this goes through my double link again. I close it up. Make sure it's nicely closed. And there we have it. Neat, huh? Nice, neat, and tidy. Now it's time to put them together. Let's attach them to my bracelet. So what I'm going to do is grab one, take one end of my links. I'm going to open up one of my links. Attach it to the loop on my bracelet and close it. Take the second link on the end. Open that up. Let's open it up to the side here. And attach that one. Come on. And you want to make sure that you don't tangle this one up with the one that you just linked on there. You want to make sure that they're two separate links. Okay. Get it to cooperate. Get in there. There. And close that up. And there's one side. Nice. Let's go to the other side and attach. Okay, and I'm opening up my link the same way that I would open a jump ring. You don't want to pull it apart like this. You want to open it up, kind of flip like you're doing you're flipping a top. So just kind of flip it up like that. Slide that in my bracelet loop and flip it back down. Grab the other loop. Open it up. And slide that in and link my bracelet loop. Yep, see, it got tangled in the other one. Let's get that out of there. That we don't want. Come on, come out, come out, come out wherever you are. Yeah, okay. So now let's do that again. Got my little link. Slide it in my loop, my bracelet loop, and I'm leaving this other one down here out of the way. Slide that in my bracelet loop. Keep that one out of the way and close it. There. Now make my little adjustments, make sure everything's nice and flush and closed and neat and tidy and all that good stuff. From the other one. Yes. Nice and neat. And there is my chain. Pretty. Very nice. Isn't that neat? Now all we need to do is make our clasp. Okay, so for that, we're going to use our 20 gauge round wire. And I'm going to make a loop first, and then we'll make our hook second. So all we need for our loop is about 2 inches. Let me give myself 2 inches of wire. This This is how you hold the tail. That went flying across the room. That could have easily gone in my face, which would have been bad. Okay, so let's try that again. Okay, so you cut about 2 inches of wire. Don't cut yet. Just hold on to it. Grab that tail. There we go. There it is. Yes. Okay. That's so embarrassing when those things happen when I'm trying to work. Okay, so now what we want to do is make another wrap loop. Another one. Once you get loops down, you can do anything. Okay, so I'm going to bend my wire back about 3/4 of an inch because I only need one wrap around. So I'm going to give myself that much. Slide my pliers down about 1/3 of the way down. This does not need to be a large loop. And wrap that short tail over my pliers like so. Rotate my wire back, clamp down, and this is a short tail. Let's pull that tail around until it's under my pliers, and then wrap it around the wire one time. That's all. One little wrap is all I need. I'm just wrapping it around with the pliers one time, right under the loop. There we go. Once I have my wrap, I'm going to snip a little bit of this off because I want this to be right in the center of my loop. I want that little end, that little tail to end right in the center of my loop, because that's a good resting place, because if you have it off on the side, it could catch on something. So again, I'm going to be wary of that little tail. I'm going to turn that down into a little tube, snip that off, let it drop to the bottom. Look at that little pieces of wire down in there. And then I'm going to push down that little tail right against the wire. Get down there. Yes, there we go. Now we want to make another loop, a little bit more There it is. So I want to make another loop going in, let's see here. Yes, I want to make another loop going in the same direction. So I'm going to bend my wire back just a little bit, about a, not quite a 90-degree angle, just a little. Then I'm going to take my pliers, and this time I want a bigger loop because this is the loop that my hook is going to go into. So I'm going to slide it back here to the back. Again, like I did with my infinity links, I'm going to bring my wire around my pliers till I can't go any further. Then I'm going to open my pliers and rotate back and bring that wire around and under the pliers. So I have a loop, another loop, a bigger loop this time. See, large, small, large. Then I'm going to grasp my loop with my square pliers, and I'm going to wrap that tail around the stem. Doesn't need to be a long wrap, just want a little enough of a wrap so that it's nice and secure. And again, I want it to stop at about the halfway point in between my loop, my two loops. So I'm going to clip off that end, again utilizing my little spool. Okay, it's becoming a little, oh, nope, it didn't come off. There it is. It's becoming a little wasteland of wire clippings. Then I'm going to take that little tail, I'm going to push it down in between the other wires so that it's nice and smooth. There we go. So that is going to be the loop for my hook. Now let's make our hook. So I'm going to take about 3 inches of wire. Okay, and again, we're using our 20 gauge. So about 3 inches of wire. Grab that tail. That's safe, yes. And I'm going to make a loop on the bottom here. Again, I'm going to give myself about 3/4 of an inch. Bend it back. Grab my round pliers. Make myself a small loop. It doesn't have to be big, about the same size as the first loop we did on your round part. Wrap that around the pliers till you can't go any further. Oh, I'm off camera, sorry. Rotate your pliers back. Bring that tail around under the pliers. And then wrap it. Now, I can actually hold it like this and wrap if I want. You can do that, or you can use your flat pliers. I find it easier to do it this way, especially when I have a really short tail. I have a better grip. And just gonna wrap it around once under my pliers that I'm holding with. Okay. And cut off the excess. And push down that little tail. Until it's as close to the wire as I can get and not ready to do damage. Okay, now I want to make, see how my little loop is kind of leaning to the side? All I need to do to correct that is just take the tip of my round nose pliers and bend it back until it's nicely on top of my my stem again. It sort of looks like a little lollipop. So now I'm going to make my hook. And I want the hook. Do I have one here? Yes. I want my little hook, this part, to go over where the little ends of my wire are so that it won't catch on anything. It'll be hidden under there, which is nice. So what I'm going to do is find my little end, which is over here. Here we go. See, it's so nicely pushed down that I can't even feel it, which is wonderful. So the first thing I'm going to do is measure approximately, and it depends on how big you want your hook to be. I'm going to give myself about an inch and an eighth, an inch and an eighth. And then I'm going to bend my wire. Do that again. Yes. I'm going to bend my wire until the wire is bent in half so that when I make my hook, it's going to be going in the same direction as my little loop. And I lost my measurement. Where are you? So I want to bend this in half so that the ends of my wire are together. So now my wires are resting side by side, like so. I'm going to take my flat pliers. Where'd those come from? Anyway, I'll take my flat pliers and I'm going to squeeze those wires together until they're side by side. There we go. And now I'm going to wrap this tail around. So I'm going to lift this tail so that I can wrap it. And I'm going to grab those two ends, those two lengths, L-E-N-G-T-H-S of wire, grasp them, and I'm going to wrap that tail around the stem here, right between my loop and that long length of long two lengths of wire. Just wrap that around. Clip off that tail right there in the center of my loop. I heard it drop down in there that time. And I'm going to push down that little end all the way down. Nice. And now I'm going to make my hook. It's nice and straight here. So there are the two ends, the two lengths, and there's my loop. Straighten that out a little bit so it's nice and fitted in the center. And let's make my little hook. So I'm going to bend my wire back towards the loop. And then I'm going to take my pliers. You can use your pliers, you can use a pen, a pencil, whatever, depending on the size loop you want. I'm going to go all the way back to the back of my pliers. Then I'm going to push this looped end over my pliers, all the way over. until it touches the wrapped part above my circle. So there's my little hook. And then I want to take my pliers again and just give it a little bit of a ledge. You do it with your round pliers, your flat pliers, just right there on the tip. And just make a little bit of a ledge. Just twist it away from the loop. Oops. There we go. So now I have a little bit of a ledge there. Make it a little more pronounced. There it is. There's my shepherd's hook. There it is. Neat, huh? So easy. And I like to push mine as close to closed as I can get, so that when I slide it into my loop, it won't slide out easily. It'll snap into place and snap open. Now I just need to attach everything. Let's attach our loop to our infinity links. Okay, so I'm going to open each one of these up. Now you can open them one at a time. Open one, put this on, open the other, put it on. But let's see if we can open them both at the same time. Open that up, open that up, and slide my the small side, the small ring, into both of them. Yes. Now close one up. Then close the second one up. Make sure they're nicely closed. No open ends. Nice and snug. And there we go. Go to the other side and do the same thing with my shepherd's hook. We're almost there. The end is in sight. Open one. Open the other. And put my hook on. There we go. And close. Close one. And then close the other. And make sure that my ends are nice and flush with the wire. Nice and neat. There we go. And that, ladies and gents, is our bracelet. Told you it was a piece of cake. It's a little bit more of a round shape here. Make the adjustments that you need to your wire. And shape it to fit your wrist. There it is. Pretty, huh? I love it. These are so easy, and I do love this chain. I really do. Nice. Should I put it on? Why not? Why the heck not? I just love, 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 love fumbling with my bracelets on camera. It's always so much fun for you to sit there and wait until I get it fastened, blah, blah, blah. There's all kinds of instructionals on how to easily fasten. You know, I know there are some people that say, oh, I prefer a lobster clasp, but I personally think it's a little more challenging to fasten a lobster clasp than it is to fasten this kind. I don't have this shaped well enough. Let's give it a little bit more of a round shape because it's just sticking out on the sides, making it harder to fasten. So you will do your own shaping until you get it to the shape that you want. That fits your wrist. And again, that's why these little links are so wonderful, because you can make as many or as few of them as you need. And you can let some of them dangle and it still looks pretty if you want. Oh, you know what? It just occurred to me. I've got my glasses on and I'm too close to it, so I can't see what I'm doing. So it's all blurry. Stop it. Maybe I should do it under the camera and I might be able to see better if I'm looking in the camera while I do it. Finally, my goodness gracious. There it is. I make a little bit of an adjustment with my wires. Easy enough to do. But there it is. There's my bracelet. What do you think? I love it. Love it, love it, love it. There we go. Get on top there where you can be seen and admired. Oh, I love it. That is so neat. And then I have a second one. Yay. Aren't those neat? I love them. Anyway, that, ladies and gents, is our tutorial for today. Easy breezy. There it is. I love it. That's it. That's our bracelet for today. I love the two components. I love the wrapped beads. I love the infinity chain. Love it. I love when a plan comes together, and most of you are probably too young to even know what that line comes from. But anyway, that's our piece for the day. I hope you liked it. If you did, let me know. If you didn't, let me know. If there's something you didn't understand, let me know. Any feedback is great. It helps me move forward, give me an idea of things that you'd like to see in the future. I love it when I get emails like that. Email address is jewelrygen20@gmail.com. That's JEWELRY20@gmail.com. Again, JEWELRY20@gmail.com. And if you make one of these, please post a picture on the library Facebook page, because we would love to see them, or you can send me a picture of it to the email. I would love to see it. I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to hear your feedback. So until next time, I hope you have a great week. Have a good weekend and see you later. Bye-bye.